The arena in Atlanta buzzed with tension, but beneath the noise was something more fragile, something personal. Brittney Griner sat on the bench, her eyes red, voice breaking as she whispered about letting everyone down. Across the court, Aaliyah Boston was lifting her teammates with every rebound, every box out, every word of encouragement. By the end of the night, the Indiana Fever had done what analysts swore was impossible. 6 players sidelined, Caitlin Clark out, and yet they stormed into the semifinals for the first time since 2015. For years, Indiana had been defined by early exits, rebuilds, and frustration. The last time they won a playoff series, Tamika Catchings was the cornerstone, Stephanie White was the coach, and Natasha Howard was a rookie learning her first lessons in the league. Nearly a decade had passed since then. But in Game 3 against Atlanta, the story flipped. Instead of bowing out quietly, the Fever walked into Gateway Center Arena and refused to leave. The odds were stacked higher than anyone wanted to admit. Clark was out. Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson, Chloe Bibby, Ari McDonald, Dirisha Dantas, all gone. Nearly half of Stephanie White's rotation wasn't even in uniform. By all logic, Indiana was supposed to be the team running on fumes, just happy to have made it this far. Atlanta had the depth, the home crowd, and the healthier roster. But when the lights came on, it wasn't the dream dictating the terms. It was Indiana. The Fever's fight was about more than just basketball. It was about desperation. White had said it herself before the game. Win or go home requires hunger, urgency, valuing every possession. Indiana showed all of that from the opening tip. They clawed for rebounds, they hustled for loose balls. They leaned on each other in a way that made them look like the healthier team, even as half their roster sat in street clothes. And their fans, those long-suffering supporters, showed up too. Fever chants rose above the Dream's own crowd by the second half, transforming a road elimination game into something that felt almost like a home court. Even the injured players joined the chorus. Clark rallied from the bench, Cunningham barked instructions like an extra assistant coach, and Bibby huddled with teammates during timeouts. The message was clear. They weren't out of this fight, but for all the collective grit, the spotlight inevitably fell on the showdown inside. Boston against Griner, old guard against new. For years, Griner had been the face of playoff basketball in the paint. Her length, her power, her ability to shift a game with one block or one hook shot had made her the nightmare every opponent dreaded. Yet this time, she couldn't deliver. The minutes dwindled, the trust faded, and eventually she sat when her team needed her most. Boston, on the other hand, became everything Griner used to be. She finished with 14 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists, but the numbers don't tell the whole story. It was the timing. Her go-ahead layup with just 7.4 seconds left was the dagger. It wasn't just a basket, it was a statement. A declaration that the future now belonged to her. On defense, she was just as ruthless. She didn't chase blocks, didn't gamble for highlights. She played smart, pushing Griner off her favorite spots, forcing fadeaways, making every possession a struggle. The result was a frustrated, ineffective Griner who looked a step slower and a shadow of the player who once dominated this stage. The contrast couldn't have been sharper. Griner's post-game words carried the weight of that reality. She admitted she had let her family down, let her team down, let herself down. She tried to talk about giving herself grace, but even she seemed unconvinced. It didn't sound like a slump anymore. It sounded like a farewell. Retirement whispers grew louder, and with every tear they felt more like inevitabilities. If that was the end of one era, Boston made sure to prove another had begun. Yet this wasn't just about her. Kelsey Mitchell set the tone early, slicing through Atlanta's defense for 24 points, 19 of them in the first half. Without her relentless scoring, Indiana might never have been in position for Boston's heroics. Odyssey Sims, once just a hardship contract pickup, played like she belonged under the brightest lights, tallying 16 points and 8 assists, including the perfectly timed feed to Boston in the closing seconds. And then there was Lexi Hull. With Atlanta still clinging to hope, Howard tried to trigger the final inbound. Hull read it like a book, darting in for the steal that sealed the series. One play, one moment, and the Fever's playoff drought was over. The beauty of Indiana's win was in the layers. Brianna Turner's defense, Natasha Howard's steadying presence, Michaela Timpson grabbing 5 rebounds in just 4 minutes, Shaw Petty hitting a clutch 3 when the game teetered. Every contribution mattered. Even the sideline energy mattered. Clark lacing up in black Air Force Ones, a superstition turned symbol, became part of the legend of that night. And so, the Fever march on, bruised but unbroken, into the semifinals. Waiting for them are the Las Vegas Aces, a dynasty in progress led by A'ja Wilson, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray. This is no longer Atlanta's inexperience. This is the two-time defending champions, the team that expects to win, the team that has lived under pressure and thrived in it. Boston now faces her hardest test yet. Wilson isn't just a scorer. She's a force who dominates both ends, versatile enough to defend guards and still own the paint. The battle between them will be a war within the war, and whoever controls it could very well decide the series. Mitchell and Sims will need to be perfect in their decision-making, because against Vegas, every turnover turns into points the other way. Every wasted possession is a dagger. The Fever have shown resilience, but against the Aces, resilience may not be enough. They'll need brilliance. For Indiana, this run already feels historic. To snap a decade-long playoff drought while missing nearly half their roster is a testament to grit and unity. But as they head into Vegas, they also face the question of what comes next. If this team can do this without Clark, what will they become when she's back at full strength? Could this be the beginning of something bigger, a foundation for a dynasty? For Griner, the questions are more final. Is this the end of her time as the league's dominant center? Has the torch already passed, whether she's ready or not? Boston didn't just outplay her. She claimed the ground Griner once ruled, and did it with poise that suggests this won't be a one-time thing. The Fever's win wasn't supposed to happen. That's what makes it unforgettable. They walked into Atlanta undermanned, overlooked, and underestimated. And they walked out with history. Do you think this is the end of Brittney Griner's career as a dominant force in the WNBA? Or can she rise again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next chapter of this incredible story.